Yo, yo, what's up? My name is Brodie McMichael. Welcome to the AEW Dynamite review. Um, I just want to say we started out so solid, and then Chris Jericho had to go ahead and just ruin it. That we'll get to that when we get to that, but that's not where we start. We're starting with Hangman Page and Ricky Starks, and to be honest, this was actually everything it should have been. There were him and Hobbs were also in action later, and that was actually good instead of just the one team Taz segment where Taz complains and nothing happens. And eventually, just a random brawl. Just nice to see a change of pace. You got a million viewers, you didn't get complacent, you didn't do what you got comfortable doing, and you stuck to it. So this one's pretty much them doing, like, in a sense, it delivered on two angles. You got Ricky Starks wrestling on TV again, which is very well appreciated. Like, I enjoy Ricky Starks in the ring, and pretty solid match all around. It pretty much just delivers in Hangman winning at the end. And it wasn't even a buckshot for the win. It was pretty much a bully choke, just with an ankle pick, because at some point in the match, Starks hurt his ankle, and that led to his ankle being able to be trapped, and he had no choice but to submit at that point. So, Hangman for the win, and commentary made it a key point during the match, like 12 times, to let you know that Hangman is the number one contender and has been for quite a while now, actually the past 4 weeks. So, just waiting for that Hangman Omega thing to happen. But apparently Kenny's got other business, and we'll get to that when we get to that, because that was actually pretty wild. So, Hangman for the win. We move on. We get a representative Death Triangle, and it is Penta El Cero Miedo. And Penta, man, I'll put this. This is pretty. In all honesty, if we're gonna just talk about it for a second, you could have switched these two matches. This could have been the opener. You could have still had Hangman go either way. Because if you're gonna go off of what you've based the Dynamite opener to be, this was more the fun match that took care of business in another way, where you had to extend Hangman's story and also just in general do something different with people from Team Taz. So yeah, but overall, like, I enjoyed this. I really did. Especially, I wanted Pentagon to be the one who popped the pile driver on the apron, but it just happened to be Trent. So yeah, at the end of the day, Pentagon still popped the pile driver. He still got the W. Trent did look good in this match, but you just know with how Death Triangle is positioned here in AEW at this point, Death Triangle's gonna get that. Like, they're gonna get that W, and I just think they're gonna end up winning this feud. But there is not a bad match you could put between any of the 6 individuals that are tied into this, whether that be because they all addressed this a couple weeks ago, because they played it off as this is 1/3 of Death Triangle. They want you to know that Death Triangle is still heavily involved with Best Friends, but yet last week you had the super kick mask tearing off on Phoenix, and it kind of seems like it would just be neglectful if you kind of just neglected what happened there last week and just move straight on to the Best Friends. Like, I understand, like, you could look at it as just a finish and only that, but like, that's actually in wrestling just been highlighted as a bigger deal. You don't just have your mask snatched off and just forget about that. So, like I said before, Pentagon for the W with the package pile driver. And I don't think anything followed that part of them. No, that's pretty much that. Yeah, that's that. So, up next, you get MJF in the Pinnacle backstage. And this is pretty much just MJF roasting Chris Jericho and saying, everything you said about me, you had the so-called best promo in the industry, best promo in the business a couple weeks ago. And out of all the things you said, you made fun of my scarf. And then has Wardlow behind him pass him a new gift that the greatest coach of all time, Tully Blanchard, went out to get him. There's a brand new scarf because Jericho said that MJF was rocking his scarf gimmick and was stealing from him. If you remember the promo from a week ago or 2 weeks ago, whenever that was. Yeah, I think it was 2 weeks ago. So MJF goes on to say that Chris Jericho has been pretty much past his prime for a long time and is a pretty much B athlete, a B wrestler, he's a B putting himself around a bunch of Bs to look like an A. And he is a B wrestler putting himself around a bunch of A wrestlers to make him look good over the past many years. To throw many examples out, and I cannot remember every name he listed: Cody Rhodes, the Young Bucks, Orange Cassidy, John Moxley, and there were a couple more to follow. But pretty much all the guys that were the hot entities up to this point in All Elite Wrestling and anyone Chris Jericho has rubbed shoulders with. MJF said the difference between him and Jericho was the Jericho rub didn't affect him because MJF was already a star. Pretty much following off of what Jericho told him. You tried to smush me under your finger. That pretty much never happened, is MJF's rebuttal. So at the end of all this, MJF just levels it down to the Pinnacle is better than Inner Circle, and the Inner Circle does pretty much know it. And he also, I just want to say he also did mention, too, that he did beat Jericho. So what does he really have to prove at the end of this? He's already done it. So we move on. Next segment. Yep, this is Hikaru Shida and Tay Conti. Any of the variations you want to call her, because commentary doesn't know what to call her, but her name plus they have Tay Conti. So we're going to roll with whatever at this point. Whatever just rolled off the tongue at this point. So Tay Conti and Hikaru Shida pretty much have the match of the night. I would just actually like to apologize to Tay Conti because a couple years ago when she was in NXT, not only did they treat this girl like actual garbage, like she was garbage, and I can say at the time she was, and you can still see it a little bit, but it's pretty much covered up in AEW. Like, they don't try and show her weaknesses, which is like a key point here, but she was never put in a position in NXT where you could see her strong suits. Like, they didn't see her as much. You could clearly see they didn't see her as much because she comes to AEW, and every step of the way up until about the last month, I'm questioning them pushing her in this spot in the women's division, where that time that they're giving this women's division now, you better be ready, because nobody wants their time wasted on a week-to-week basis, and they're dedicating 15 minutes a segment to these girls. And she came out, and she put on a banger with the best women's champion in professional wrestling. That is that is not a declarative statement. That is an actual fact. Like, that Hikaru Shida took this girl, and they had 15 minutes of a pure, entertaining, hard-hitting, stiff match. And at the very end, I had the built-up, believed in my head that the way they were running it, up until the backbreaker across the apron, not across the apron, across the turnbuckle, across the top of the turnbuckle, where I believed that Conti could have won. She put on a 15-minute exciting match. I'm actually proud of her in this case. That was awesome. Hikaru Shida continues to shine, and after Hikaru Shida gets the win with the fucking Mortal Kombat reference, I forgot the goddamn name of it. Forgot the name of it, but either way, Shida gets the win with the knee. It's a spinning knee. Like, just imagine Trouble in Paradise if you haven't seen this. Just imagine Trouble in Paradise, but you land on the one foot and you come around with the leg that hit. You crack knee to jaw. That's what that is. After this, Britt Baker comes out. BND. Dennis style, baby. She's telling Hikaru Shida she's number one on the rankings at this point. There's nobody else left. She's racked up her wins. She stacked them. She's next. I also just want to let people know that a couple weeks ago in the video pack, last week actually, in the video package they played for Thunder Rosa, Thunder Rosa said she wanted a match with, she wanted the NWA Women's title back, and she wanted the AEW Women's Championship. So at some point, for everybody who was a fan of Britt and Thunder Rosa, I don't think that's done. That's pretty much me saying, unless they just know they want Shida to just run through this division and they want her to be the poster child of this division, then Shida's pretty much the girl. But I think Britt's got this wrapped. I'll put it honest. I'll put a bow in it and say I think Britt's got this wrapped. Whenever they run a title match, it could be Double or Nothing at the end of May. I don't know, but I know Britt's got this wrapped. Great match. I don't know where Conti goes next, but apparently we're immediately looking forward to Britt Baker and the AEW Women's Championship and Hikaru Shida. So up next, what is this? Okay. Chris, we gotta keep it. We gotta keep buck here real quick. You come out, you make your jokes, we sing Judas. It's a fun time. Like, honestly, I don't know how to explain this. Like, Chris Jericho comes out and says next to nothing. Santana says the more impactful portion of this promo where he pretty much says, you don't know where we come from. We're a different bleed. We left you bleeding, and we're going to see, since we made you bleed, we don't have nothing else to do. We got to fight blood and guts on May the 5th. We're going to see where your heart stands then and there. And Chris Jericho slowly just fades that off to the side. Like, yeah, you're right. I don't even think he acknowledged it even like that. I just think he just brushed off to like, yeah. And then just continues to go in and say, my jerk-off friend. And then he tries to put together a makeshift song. And I'm not even kidding you. I don't even remember this. Like the lyrics to this. But he starts, waits for the crowd interaction. Gets the crowd interaction. Gets messed up off the crowd interaction. And then stops. And then just continues to say, blood and guts, May the 5th. We're going to kick your ass. That's it. MJF said what he said earlier. Said you're past your prime. Said you pretty much latching on to people for your fame. That was a B-level promo from, in my opinion, A-level talent still at 50 years old in his career. And MJF kind of just... like, they're not going to outright say it on TV, but Jesus, bro. That was a dud. That kind of just wasted our time there a little bit, because at least give other people a chance to speak. I at least, like, the inner circle shtick of Sammy Guevara getting a, like, hey, what's this mean in Spanish? And he'll say it in English just to piss people off. At least he gets to do that in Spanish, but, like, we got to grow past that. People need to learn to grow while they're in this group before they eventually at some point have to split. That's just my take on it. But what do we got next? QT Marshall, Billy Gunn. So I feel like the way they started this, they felt like the Jericho thing was pretty much dead, because they came out on fire and they didn't really want this to slow. They didn't want it to slow one bit. So with this, like, this match was pretty much on commentary. It just felt like, and it's not that, and I know they want these guys to go out there and have a good match, but it felt, oh, wait, there was something in between this. They had like a little Nightmare Family, like, I guess this was like a little promo package thing. They didn't really, they just said they're out to stand on their own pretty much. And that's what this match tried to accomplish. Until commentary, most of it, all you hear is how they split from Cody, how QT didn't want to be Cody's friend anymore, how QT aligned himself with dangerous men, and they're out to pretty much take out the Nightmare Family. Like, by the way, Cody has been on TV not once to address any of this since a couple weeks ago when this all started and QT split from them. If he's not going to be on TV, don't waste my time with the Nightmare Family. There is no one there that I want to see on the TV on a week-to-week. if you're gonna use somebody, Cody, you're there every single week. Stop being lazy, sitting in gorilla position. That is Tony Khan's job. Let's go. Let's do this, dude. Like I'm not even a fan of anything you do at this point. I'm at this like I got a whole different take on Cody, and it's not even worth his time. Let's like QT Marshall, he gets the W. And after the match, there's a Nightmare Family, and I forgot what QT's calling his group, but there's Nightmare Family and QT Marshall's group. Oh, in general, the factory and the Nightmare Family. Oh, the Nightmare Factory and the Nightmare Family, pretty much. Yeah, that's pretty much. They get into it. Nothing really comes of it toward the end, and the Nightmare Family just spins off. QT got the win. That's what mattered at the end. Anthony Ogogo got the punch. There was a distraction in the middle of it. Ogogo with the shot, and and after the match they had, there was the afterbirth of steel chair. Oh, it wasn't even steel chair, it was a wooden chair. Yeah, so they grabbed this wooden chair, and one of the guys in the Nightmare, Comoroto gets whacked with it, and he just stands there. He gets whacked with the wooden chair over the head, unprotected chair shot. Screams, "Ah!" No, I'm good. That's where they back down. And that's where this just ends. No. And honestly, at that point, I would too. Because you specifically made sure that's a wooden chair. I'm good. Nope. So, what came next? Okay. So, we're in the trailer with Matt and Nick Jackson, the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, the world champion, Matt and Nick Jackson, the world tag team champions, Don Callis, and I don't know why you're here, Doc Gallows, and Carl Anderson. So, this is nothing but Don Callis putting the boys over and telling them, like, oh, he's literally just doing what I did. He just introduced them. He introduced them, and then said at some point in the middle of all this, with all the boys just yelling and just fucking around, Moxley and Kingston are supposed to be back tonight. And they're like, oh, really? Matt Jackson's like, oh, what are they going to do? Moxley and Kingston, ooh. So then Matt Jackson says if they really have something, if they really want to come see us, they should come see us in our trailer. So then you hear a bunch of horn honking, and they're asking, what's that? What's that? What's that? And then all of a sudden, you see Moxley driving a pickup. Full speed, bashes into the trailer. They get out. They go around the trailer, busting windows with a pipe. Eddie Kingston's all like, oh, where you at, B? What's good? Moxley's like, bitch AF. And somehow, that's the end of the segment. The Elite disappeared. They don't know where they're at. I feel like I'm sitting here trying to deliver somebody some bad news and just like, because after you explain something like that, it's like, there's more, right? What is that? What else happened? No, that's it. Like, all right, that was lit though. Like that was lit. Like whenever you want to put more follow up on that, you could start that real quick because I would love to know what happens from there. All right, what's next? Christian Cage and Hobbs. So I'm in a very small minority here, right? Like everyone is everybody's fine with Christian stuff since he came back. Like my case with Christian since he's came back is my case with Cody since he came back, and that's over a trial of 2 matches, right? Like you wrestle a WWE formula. Your matches don't entertain me at this point. Like everything you're back for is nostalgia at this point. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm a fan of you, but I figure if you come back, you change it up. I got to see Edge in a triple threat at WrestleMania, and I know weapons are warranted in that, and he tried to end that with the concerto. But, like, yeah, he did old Edge hits and all that, but it felt different. Edge made an effort to feel different. Christian, I don't see that effort from you here. Like, I honestly, at this point, I feel like you do less. You just take more bumps. That's just where I am on that. Like, but Christian gets the one with the kill switch. But it's like I said, good to get more people in Team Taz in action. From the jump, when you seen this match announced, you should have known what it was. Hobbs had to wrestle on Dynamite, but at the same time, if Christian's going to do this Team Taz thing, he's got to run through all of them in a row. I'm not a fan of Ricky having to take an L to Christian at this point in time, but they're going to make Ricky take an L to Christian at this point in time. And I think where Christian stumbles along a roadblock in this is Cage, because Christian, like I said, went on to beat Hobbs. He used the kill switch. That was the 1, 2, 3. There was nothing really to this match. It was, if you've ever seen a Christian match 2009 up, you know what happened, minus a spear. Like, it was same old hits. So, Christian, Well, like I said, good to see Hobbs in action, and good to see that he's actually growing since we last seen him, which felt like forever ago. All right. Oh, yeah, and next week we get something announced for Dynamite. It will be an Inner Circle parlay, because one of the very last things Jericho mentioned in his promo is he wants a parlay. Like, he wants to exchange war plans between the two teams next week. So, we'll see how that one goes. To me, it just sounds like Inner Circle Town Hall. But we'll see how that one goes. All right. Main event, we get Darby Allin versus Jungle Boy. Honestly, you give this another 5 minutes, this pretty much goes up there with the girls. This was pretty good. And for the people, the Jim Cornettes of the world, who like to go out there and say people like Darby Allin do nothing but garbage wrestling and thumbtacks and tables and blood and blah, 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 that won't get over to a mainstream audience, no, you are completely incorrect. Because at that point, Darby Allin not only kept the audience they had last week, Darby Allin did so well, he got another main event, and he wrestled a straight-up, regular, bell-to-bell, quality main event, in my opinion. Favorite points of this came the attempted snare trap spot where Darby knew nobody's gotten out of it, and they didn't want to have to make him get to the ropes twice out of it. Kind of weakens the maneuver in that sense. And Darby slid out and was just like, nah, that's not gonna happen. When I did get him there, it made it seem like it was like 9:57. So I'm thinking AEW likes to save time after some of their main events, and that's kind of what happens at the end. But no, he didn't even tap out then. No, toward the end of the match, Darby got out the snare trap, and I forgot what Excalibur called it, but he ended this match with he went through, like he stepped through the leg, he was going to do a Scorpion Deathlock, like he was going to do Sting's finish, but then he just threw it into a pin. There's a name for it, I forgot what it was, but that was dope, and that was pretty much the finish of this. At one point, I'd like to also mention, Darby hit a coffin drop onto the apron, onto Jungle Boy that looked dope as shit. And Jungle Boy also in this match hit a tope con hilo through the middle rope by flipping tope con hilo to the middle rope. Yeah, that's pretty much the story of that. On that one, Darby Allin for the dub, and then after the match, of course, you have to have something after the match in AEW. It's at this point, it's damn near necessary after every other week's main event. You get Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page coming out there, and I will be completely honest with you right now. I don't give a shit about either of them. You could have took it or left it from me. They came out. They assaulted Darby. Lance Archer came out there. You know, he's been talking about he's sick of Sting having a spotlight. And then when he comes in, he throttles both of them for a chokeslam. They both hit him in the nuts. Sting comes back in with the bat, slowly and briskly makes his way back to the ring. And he does nothing. They get out, they run. He helps Darby and Archer, and they stand up. And if I were Archer, I honestly would have took Sting out, to be completely real with you, because you've been sitting here in this man's face complaining for weeks, and then he says he agrees with you. He's pretty much involved in TV time you didn't have this week. If we're following the narrative and you're not disrespecting your fans, guys, I would have just had Archer hit him. I'm not saying it was bad. It was still enjoyable. I would just had Archer hit him. Because it would just further my point. I came to do business and I came to do work, even though I didn't have it taken care of. You're the reason they left. I would have snatched the bat from you and I would have just smacked you over your head. But that's not going to happen. At least yet. I don't know. But that was pretty much this week on Aew Dynamite. So I'd like to thank you guys for watching. This is pretty much a trial run. It's not probably always going to look and sound like this, but if this was pretty good for you guys and this how it worked, and this worked well for you guys, then that's it. So I'd like to thank you guys for watching this episode of an Aew Dynamite review. And I will see you guys next time. Thank you guys for watching. See you later. All right, that's done. Sweet.